Movies about zombies are always interesting to see, as they are not just zombies but more metaphors for various themes that haunt the human psyche, ranging from plague and mortality. Just imagine being chased down by a horde of walking dead and sinking their teeth in your flesh. Welcome to Binge TV, and today we'll be counting our picks for the top 10 best zombie apocalypse movies. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications for more videos like this one. 10th place, Reanimator. At the University of Zurich Institute of Medicine in Switzerland, Herbert West brings his dead professor, Dr. Hans Gruber, back to life. West thinks the dosage was too large, but believes that he gave him life. West arrives at Miskatonic University to study as a medical student. He rents a room from fellow medical student Dan Kane and converts the house's basement into his laboratory. West demonstrates his reanimating reagent to Dan by reanimating Dan's dead cat Rufus. Dan's fiancée, Megan Halsey, walks in on this experiment and is horrified. Dan tries to tell the dean about West's success in reanimating the dead cat, but the dean does not believe him. When Dan insists, the dean implies that Dan and West have gone mad. West and Dan sneak into the morgue to test. The corpse they inject comes back to life, but in a zombie state. Dr. Halsey stumbles upon the scene and is killed by the reanimated corpse, which West then kills with a bone saw. 9th place, Dead Snow. Sarah is being chased through the snows of Norway. Later, she is caught and eaten by zombies wearing World War II Nazi SS uniforms. 7 students on Easter vacation arrive at a small cabin that is owned by Vigard, Sarah's boyfriend. The group begins to drink and party until a mysterious hiker arrives. He tells them the dark history of the region. During World War II, a force of Einsatzgruppe abused and tortured the local people. The hiker then continues on his way. That night, Vigard wakes to a figure placing something beneath the floorboards of the cabin. He calls out, believing it to be Sarah, but she ignores him and leaves. Vigard follows and finds her outside covered in blood. Vigard suddenly jolts awake in his bed, revealing it was a dream. Meanwhile, the hiker has set up camp in the mountains and is eating dinner when he is disturbed by a noise outside. He investigates and is attacked and killed by a zombie. 8th place, World War Z. Former UN agent Jerry Lane, his wife Karen, and their 2 young daughters Rachel and Connie are in heavy Philadelphia traffic when the city is overrun by zombies. As chaos spreads, the Lanes escape to Newark, New Jersey and take refuge in an apartment with a couple and their young son Tommy, though they are forced to escape with Tommy when a horde of zombies attack the apartment and his parents are infected. Jerry, Fassbach, and a small SEAL escort fly to Camp Humphreys, a military base in South Korea, but zombies attack. Fassbach turns to enter the aircraft, slips and accidentally shoots himself and dies. Surviving American soldiers at the camp rescue the team, and Jerry learns the infection was introduced to the base by its doctor. A former CIA operative imprisoned at the base sends Jerry to Jerusalem, where the Mossad set up a safe zone before the outbreak was officially acknowledged. Jerry meets Mossad Chief Jürgen Wormbrunn. Months earlier, the Mossad had intercepted Indian military transmissions describing troops fighting zombies, prompting them to erect huge walls around Jerusalem. While Wormbrunn escorts Jerry around the city, the loud celebratory singing from the refugees prompts the zombies to scale the wall and overrun the city. Jerry notices zombies ignoring an old man and an emaciated boy. Soon after, one of Jerry's escorts, identifying herself only as Segan, is bitten in the hand. Jerry quickly amputates her hand to prevent infection. 7th place, Warm Bodies. About 8 years after a zombie apocalypse, R, a zombie who cannot recall his name but believes it began with an R, spends his days wandering around an airport which is now filled with his fellow undead, including his best friend M. As a zombie, R does not have a heartbeat and constantly craves human flesh, especially brains. While R and a pack of zombies are hunting for food, they encounter Julie Grigio and a group of her friends, who were sent by Julie's father from a walled-off human enclave to recover medical supplies. R sees Julie and is drawn to her. His heart beats for the first time. After being shot in the chest by Julie's boyfriend, Perry, R kills him and eats his brain while Julie is distracted. Perry's memories increase R's attraction to Julie. He rescues her from the rest of the pack by wiping some zombie blood on her face, masking her scent, and takes her to an airplane he resides in to keep her safe. Julie is terrified of R and suspicious of his intentions. She starts trusting him after he rescues her during a failed escape attempt and finds food for her. R insists that Julie stay with him for a few days until he deems it safe enough for her to leave. The two bond, listening to LP records and playing games to kill time, causing R to begin to come to life. His heart starts beating, and he is slowly able to communicate with more words. 6th place. The Dead Don't Die. Police officers Cliff Robertson and Ronnie Peterson respond to a report from farmer Frank Miller regarding a missing chicken and briefly interact with Hermit Bob in the woods. On their way back to the station, Cliff notices there is still daylight after 8 p.m. and Ronnie's watch and cell phone stopped working. Later, at a diner, hardware store owner Hank Thompson hears a radio report about polar fracking. 2 zombies reanimate when night falls and kill Fern and Lily, who are discovered by Hank the next morning. Young travelers Zoe, Jack, and Zach stop for gas and meet Bobby. At the Centerville Juvenile Detention Center, Geronimo tells fellow inmates Olivia and Stella that polar fracking has altered the Earth's rotation. Cliff and Ronnie find open graves at the cemetery while Hermit Bob spies on them. Cliff rejects Ronnie's suggestion of informing Miller of the general suspicion that zombies are on the loose. Ronnie teaches Cliff how to kill zombies, and Bobby and Hank prepare weapons. 5th place. Zombieland. 2 months have passed since a strain of mad cow disease mutated into a zombie disease that overran the entire United States. Survivors of the zombie epidemic have learned that growing attached to other survivors is not advisable because they could die at any moment. Lonely college student Columbus is making his way from his college dorm in Austin, Texas to Columbus, Ohio to see whether his parents are still alive. He encounters Tallahassee, another survivor who is particularly aggressive when killing zombies. Though he does not appear to be friendly, Tallahassee reluctantly allows Columbus to travel with him. Tallahassee mentions he misses his puppy Buck that was killed by zombies, as well as his addiction to Twinkies, which he actively tries to find. The pair meets Wichita and her younger sister Little Rock in a grocery store. The sisters turn out to be con artists and trick Tallahassee and Columbus into handing over their weapons by pretending that Little Rock is infected by the disease, then stealing their Escalade. The sisters reveal that they are going to the Pacific Playland amusement park in Los Angeles, an area supposedly free of zombies. After learning his hometown has been destroyed and his parents likely killed, Columbus decides to accompany the others to California. 4th place. Train to Busan. A chemical leak at a biotech plant causes the start of a zombie apocalypse that rapidly spreads across South Korea. Fund manager Si-Suk Woo is a workaholic and divorced father. His daughter Sue-Ann wants to spend her birthday with her mom in Busan. He tries to soothe her with the gift of a Wii, forgetting that she already has one. He watches a video of Sue-Ann suffering from stage fright while singing Aloha Oe at a recital he could not attend. He decides to take her to Busan via an early KTX 101 train from Seoul Station. As the train departs, signs of chaos from the infection reach the station, and an infected woman runs aboard unnoticed just before the doors close. She soon turns into a zombie, attacks an attendant, and many crew and passengers are quickly turned into zombies. The remaining passengers secure themselves in the front and rear cars, observing that the infected zombies only attack if they can see or hear them, but they cannot operate the train's doors. They learn from news reports of the rapidly spreading epidemic across the country, and Suk-Woo discovers the biotech plant was connected to his business. He uses his connections to try to secure safe travels for Sue-Ann and himself. 3rd place. 28 days later. A highly contagious, aggression-inducing virus called Rage is unleashed in Great Britain after an infected chimpanzee is freed by a group of animal liberation activists. It spreads quickly among the international populace, resulting in societal collapse. 28 days after the initial outbreak, bicycle courier Jim awakens from a coma in St. Thomas's Hospital in London, which has been deserted with signs of catastrophe. Jim is attacked by infected humans, but rescued by survivors Selena and Mark. At Jim's request, the group travels to his parents' house in Deptford, where he learns they committed suicide. That night, Mark is bitten during an infected attack, prompting Selena to kill him before he turns. Jim and Selena encounter cab driver Frank and his daughter Hannah at Balfron Tower, from whom they learn of a military broadcast offering protection at a blockade in Manchester. With supplies dwindling, Frank asks Jim and Selena to accompany him and Hannah to the blockade, which they accept. The group travels to Manchester in Frank's cab, but upon arriving, they find the blockade deserted. As the group struggles to plot their next move, Frank is infected when a drop of blood falls into his eye. The soldiers arrive shortly afterward and kill Frank. Second place, Shaun of the Dead. London electronics salesman Shaun has no direction in his life. He is disrespected by his colleagues, especially Noel, does not get along with his stepfather Philip, and is dumped by his girlfriend Liz. Heartbroken, Shaun gets drunk with Ed, his slacker best friend, at the pub, the Winchester. At home, Shaun and Ed's flatmate Pete complains of a bite wound from a mugger and berates Shaun into getting his life together. By morning, a zombie apocalypse has overwhelmed London. Shaun and Ed encounter two zombies in their garden, whom they beat to death with a shovel and cricket bat. They devise a plan to rescue Liz and Barbara, Shaun's mother, and then wait out the crisis in Winchester. They escape in Pete's car and pick up Philip, who's already been bitten, and Barbara. They then use Philip's car to pick up Liz and her flatmates David and Diane. Philip reconciles with Shaun before becoming a zombie. The group abandons the car and sneaks through their London neighborhood, evading zombies by imitating them. They take refuge inside the Winchester, where Shaun discovers that the Winchester rifle above the bar is functional. Barbara reveals she was bitten along the way and dies after giving Liz and Shaun's relationship her approval. David attempts to shoot Barbara, but Shaun stops him, causing the group to argue. Shaun accuses David of being in love with Liz, which Diane admits. Shaun, distraught, is forced to shoot Barbara when she reanimates. Before we get to the top spot on our list, here's a look at some honorable mentions.
Mister, there's 100 of those things out there.
How many did you say?
100? Frank, we have a little problem. The name's Maurice, and I'll catch you later.
Explain it.
That doesn't do anything.
You did, mister.
The rhythm's right under your...
There's a door to the mystical.
Somebody brought him back from the grave. And I want to know how they did it.
No dead bodies for Dad tonight.
What the hell is that?
They're not dead. The hell of the body.
His mother.
I thought I told you to spray this house.
Your mother's dead, Lon.
First place, Night of the Living Dead. Siblings Barbara and Johnny drive to a cemetery in rural Pennsylvania to visit their father's grave. Their car radio goes off the air due to technical difficulties. As they are leaving, a strange, ashen-faced man wearing a tattered suit kills Johnny and attacks Barbara. She flees and takes shelter in a farmhouse, but finds the woman who lived there dead and half-eaten. She sees a multiplying number of strange ghouls led by the man from the cemetery approaching the house. A man named Ben arrives, secures the farmhouse by boarding the windows and doors, and drives away the ghouls with a lever-action rifle he finds in the closet and with fire, which the ghouls fear. Barbara, in a shock, is surprised when Harry Cooper and Tom emerge from the cellar. Harry has been taking shelter there with his wife Helen and their young daughter Karen after a group of the same monsters overturned their car and bit Karen, leaving her seriously ill. Tom arrived with his girlfriend Judy after hearing an emergency broadcast about a series of brutal killings. Tom aids Ben in securing the farmhouse, while Harry angrily protests that it is unsafe before returning to the cellar, which he believes is safer. So what are your thoughts on these zombie apocalypse movies? Let us know in the comments below. And while you're at it, make sure to leave us a like, share this video with your friends, and also subscribe to our channel for more videos like this one. We hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you next time for more.